welcome back to the dinner table. I'm your host, Nick. I'm joined, as always, by my father, Mike.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to episode 8. Today's probably going to be a short one. We just kind of rammed a topic together there that my dad's been looking into for the past couple of weeks. And I find it kind of an interesting one because it comes back to, veteran affairs and, America, we do kind of do this pro-troop until it's time to take care of them sometimes. And I think that's where we fall short. But this I found is in that same category.
Yeah, more or less.
Or kind of sort of in that category. It's the medical side of what these guys are exposed to and stuff like that. So before we jump into it, though, I will now say that the movie Simple Acts of Kindness is officially completed. It is officially going, hopefully, to some film festivals. I'll have more on that in the coming weeks, and where it can be watched in the coming weeks, just to let everybody know if anybody cares.
Hopefully people care.
I hope so. I put a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
But, so that's what's going on with that, where I had a little chase down a few little things and got those done. So we're pretty much ready to go. And now we'll be on to our topic. Go ahead, take it away.
All right, our topic. If you don't know, I'm sure people figured out by now. Milo's here. Hey. Yeah. And I'm a veteran. I spent 24 years in the Navy. And I was doing some reading about something completely unrelated to this subject. I can't remember what I was even looking for. Probably a podcast thing that we were doing or something. I don't know. But I came across this thing about AFFF. And AFFF is aqueous film forming foam. And it's used in firefighting. On board ships, ashore. Air Force uses it, Navy, Army, everybody uses it to put fires out. And it's mainly, like fuel fires, oil fires, things like that, aircraft fires, which is where I was exposed to this stuff. And come to find out, this stuff is not good for you. The military's been using it for over 50 years.
Really?
Yeah. And I remember, of course, I joined the Navy seems like 50 years ago. It hasn't quite that long. It's been in the 40s, so I'm getting there. But I'm sure I was exposed to it in boot camp, but I don't really remember. But being in an aviation arm of the Navy, every time we went on a sea tour, we had to go to an aircraft firefighting school or flight deck firefighting school. And I deployed on aircraft carriers, so. And it was good training, fantastic training. I mean, probably after many fires during the Vietnam War and stuff on aircraft carriers, they figured out we need to train people to in firefighting, and we need to do a better job than what they were doing. So every sea tour, I had to go to this firefighting school, and they had them there. And we were at Whidbey Island, NES Whidbey Island, and. So, it was, hell, I'd gone to him so many times I could teach it, I think, And,
funny.
Of course, we used AFFF there to put out some fires. And they taught you how to use it because if you wash the AFFF off the water, you could get, reflash on your fires and all this kind of stuff. So, like I said, I was doing some reading on something, and I can't really remember what it was, but this stuff is dangerous. And AFFF contains per and polyfluoroalkyl, I'm not pronouncing that right probably, but that's close, substances, or PFAS. I think we've all probably heard of PFAS.
That sounds familiar.
They're a group of man-made chemicals used to manufacture various substances since the 40s. It's been around a long time. They're commonly referred to as forever chemicals. In other words, they have an extremely long half-lives and can accumulate in the human body. Over time, they build up. They don't go away. I guess is the issue. And they can lead to adverse health effects, heart disease, birth defects, hormonal imbalances. Maybe that's what's wrong with me. No. Additionally, the International Agency for Research on Cancer has designated one form of PFAS, perfluoral, I cannot say that. It's an acid anyway. That's carcinogenic. When not disposed of or stored properly, PFAS can also leak into the soil, surface water, and groundwater, causing serious health effects for people in affected areas. The government agencies have begun to phase out AFFF and destroy the PFAS. Now, if you remember at NAS Whidbey, when you went out the main gate, the big hill, and you went out the gate and turn left, and you go down straight towards Highway 20.
Okay, yeah.
And you go through that last traffic light where there's a gate there too to get in on the bus.
Yeah, I remember that. We've gone in that gate before.
And you keep going on the right-hand side. It's all kind of forested now. And they used to let us on the left-hand side in there to cut down trees, Christmas trees. You could go to the base and get a permit to cut down a Christmas tree. Well, you know, they stopped doing that because you probably need a logging permit to cut down one tree now. So, you know. Anyway, on the other side of the road, it was where the firefighting school was. And that became a Superfund cleanup site.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was so contaminated with. And I always thought it was just petroleum products because we used jet fuel to start the fires that you put out during the firefighting training with the AFFF or the water or whatever.
So this is like a double, triple whammy of chemicals.
Yeah, so what happened was people that lived around there getting their well water tested and stuff and finding out that it's contaminated. So the government goes in there, and I don't know if you're back in the 80s, you were just a kid, but they had all these Superfund cleanup sites, and most of them were on military installations. And I don't know if you remember, but you could drive past there and see all this machinery there where they were basically cleaning the dirt.
No, I don't remember
you
that.
probably don't remember that, but it was all there. Well, come to find out, it wasn't just, I don't think anyway, I haven't done any research on that, but I don't think it was just the chemical products or the petroleum products that were cleaning up. Probably the AFFF, the PFAS, and all that. So
I got a quick question. Is jet fuel considered petroleum?
yeah, it's a
It is.
petroleum
Is it?
product.
Oh, it sounds like a
basically
kerosene.
diesel fuel.
Oh, okay.
Kerosene.
I thought it was like kerosene.
It's kind of like kerosene.
Kerosene. I guess kerosene is one too.
Yeah.
Not to point out my own ignorance on that.
It's.
I've often, because I know like nitromethane is loosely a petroleum one as well, like it's in the dragsters.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just always curious.
But yeah, it's,
Very volatile.
yeah, jet fuel's not though. It
It's
doesn't
not?
burn very well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I bet you didn't know that.
No, I didn't. I know diesel doesn't. I've worked a lot with
Put a
diesel.
cigarette out and
Yeah.
jet fuel.
Now, I think with diesel, once it starts, it doesn't stop burning. It takes a lot of jet fuel. Probably similar then.
But anyway, this stuff really works. It's effective in fighting fires. And not only was I exposed to it on firefighting schools, but all over my Navy career. I mean, everywhere on ship. You know, we had to put out fires on occasion. It happened more than once, and some of the things, the research on this stuff, some of the things it causes, there's increased chances of developing cancer, liver damage, hormone balance disruptions, elevated cholesterol, poor immune system functioning, increased risk of asthma and thyroid disease, fertility issues, and pregnancy-induced hypertension or I can't say that word. I guess I should have researched this better. Eclampsia on the health anyway. The research on this continues to develop. And cancers associated with AFFF so far are kidney, testicular, and breast cancer. A lot of people have filed lawsuits with 3M company, one of the companies that manufacture this, and they've had some success winning these lawsuits. And so, you know, the first I heard about this was reading some random freaking article on the internet, which kind of bothers me, you know.
No, it does. A lot of that stuff gets buried too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's.
Now, I remember one time I was on shore duty, and we were I was in a training squadron where we trained new aircrew pilots and electronic countermeasures officers. I was in the EA-6Bs then, and maintenance people as well. And part of their graduation, the pilot's graduation, was they had to get carrier qualified. So that's 4-day arrestments, 4-night arrestments on an aircraft carrier. So we used to have to make short detachments to aircraft carriers. And this particular one, I used to try to avoid them. I did. I was on shore duty, so I used to take we also used to deploy or take detachments down Fallon, Nevada, so we could work on the electronic warfare ranges down there, do stuff there. And I'd volunteer the hell out of those because I didn't have to go on board a ship, But every once in a while, my turn came around. So I had to go on the USS Constellation. And I found an article about this, believe it or not, August 3rd, 1988. That's how, a few years ago. You were, what, 8 years old?
8, yeah, and Matthew was not born yet.
And it says, 18 sailors were injured Tuesday when a fire of unknown origin swept through the engine room of the Constellation as the giant aircraft carrier left San Diego on a routine training mission. Well, I was on that routine training mission. We had just got underway just over the horizon from San Diego, and they call away this fire, not a drill, engine room fire, serious shit. Oh, those can be very serious. So time went on, and it kept calling away more firefighting people. Finally, we went to general quarters, which is battle stations. And they close up the ship and lock everything down so this fire wouldn't spread. And it was just after 12:10 p.m. anyway when the fire started. They said in this article it was quickly contained, but that is not really true. We were fighting that fire until probably around 10 o'clock that night, if memory serves. Now, I could be, this is a long time ago, so but it was pretty close to that, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And when we went to general quarters, us Air Wing people, we really don't have anything to do, especially when we didn't have any aircraft on board. So we were just huddled up in our various workspaces, waiting to see what happened. And they kept, asking for more people and getting more people down there to help with this fire. And finally, I went out and found this repair party, ship's company repair party, the chief. And I was a chief at the time. I said, hey, look, we all had firefighting training. We all know what we're doing here. Just because we're a bunch of shore duty sailors, I made the last cruise on this ship. The last deployment. I put out a fire on the flight deck on this ship, or help anyway. I was on the hose. We put out a fire up there. So, we know what we're doing. If you need any help, let me know, and I'll get some guys out to help. Well, eventually we did. They came and said, hey, can you guys do this? Can you help us with that? And I ended up on the hangar. This was in the late afternoon time. I ended up on the hangar deck, kind of leading up this team of guys that they had flown more AFFF in from North Island, NAS North Island, because we were running low on it, I guess. And they had helicopters flying pallets of it out, and they'd bring it down to the hangar. And we were setting up this, you would put a hose on one part of the barrel, 55-gallon drum, and pressurize the other side and pump this AFFF down into what I assume was storage tanks somewhere below decks. I have no idea how it all worked. And that's what I did, and we were covered with it. We had AFFF everywhere, I mean, trying to, and, but we did that for hours. I don't know how long, 2 or 3 hours maybe. And finally they told us to stop. Everything was good. I don't know how many barrels of it we pumped down there that night, that afternoon and evening. I couldn't tell you. But it was a lot. It was a lot of
a hell of a cleanup, too.
That engine room probably was a disaster.
Oh,
I have no idea. It might have. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea because I never go down there. But anyway, 14 people were injured in this fire. One of them was one of my guys. I remember they said, we were trying to find him. After we everything got all settled down and everything, we're like, we're missing one guy, and they said, oh, we flew him off to Balboa Hospital in San Diego, and Balboa Naval Hospital, and he's okay. He's just minor burns.
That's good.
And I said, oh, okay, well, whatever. And I don't remember where he was to get burned. He had to be close to the fire, obviously. I mean, so anyway, this was a Tuesday. By late Tuesday night, we had everything was under control, and we were supposed to get aircraft that afternoon. We were supposed to start our carry cloth things. Of course, we had no idea what we were going to do, And the next morning, we went back into North Island. We offloaded all of our gear and waited around till we could catch a flight home and flew back home.
Yeah.
They canceled the whole thing. But a lot of AFFF was used that day, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's one of my more exciting, I guess, and personal contacts with it. Another one was on the Coral Sea. I was on the USS Coral Sea, which at the time was the second oldest aircraft carrier in the fleet. The oldest was the Midway. But you would walk through the hangar on that thing, and the hangars where you do all your heavy maintenance and the aircraft are stored or whatever. They have AFFF firefighting systems in the overhead, in the ceiling, and they can be push of a button. You can fire off these things and put a fire out quickly. While on the Coral Sea, they would just go off by accident.
Oh, jeez.
And
that's never good.
Yeah. This ship was so old, it had a lot of problems. But you'd be walking through the hangar in the morning, and be like it snowed out. You had this foam everywhere, and it's like, oh, the AFFF must have went off again. Hope it didn't do anything to our airplanes, Hope we didn't get any cockpits or whatever, and any electronics screwed up or, And so we were constantly exposed to this stuff. So I did a little research on what the VA thinks of this. I went to their website and started doing some keyword searches for AFFF and stuff, and here's what the VA says. If you've been exposed to AFFF, you should go see your doctor.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah, go see your doctor. Just let him know that you've been exposed to AFFF.
They said the same thing about those burn pits, too.
Burn pits, yeah. And that's kind of... I wasn't researching anything on that.
No, we don't got to go into that. But
I just happened to see we were watching a Jon Stewart thing.
Yeah.
He was talking about burn pits.
You want to watch that episode on Apple Plus. That is an excellent episode.
Yeah, about in Iraq and how sick and dying these people are, and our federal government isn't doing a damn thing about it. Or very little. It's maybe gotten better now. I don't know.
I think it has. They did push some kind of legislation or something in there to force the VA to at least acknowledge it and to monitor
it. These guys some medical care. Yeah. And I think that's what they should be doing with this AFFF.
Oh, probably.
Why not get a list of people, which is probably 90% of the people that are in the military anyway.
That's probably why they don't.
Yeah, and say, hey, if you're exposed to this stuff, let us know. We'll put you in a database. If we find anything or if we discover anything, we will let you know and give you some ideas of what you can do. Personally, unless there's something cooking in and down there that I don't know about, I'm fine.
The prostate just go poof one day.
Yeah. But I had a good friend who just passed away a few months ago, who had prostate cancer. Yeah. He didn't die from that, but he had other issues. And you wonder.
You do.
Was his prostate cancer? Part of this. I don't know, because he spent longer in the military. He spent 28 years in, I think. In the military. So he was.
Yeah.
He was exposed to this stuff. So you always wonder. I also had a guy that I worked with after the Navy, my other job, who died of a rare skin cancer. He had a very rare form of melanoma, and he was exposed to Agent Orange in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
And he went to the VA and said, hey, I was exposed to Agent Orange. He was on the patrol boats in the Mekong River and all that. He's a badass dude. Because... and
he was the G.I. Joe.
Yeah, he was. And they just kind of said, well, we'll take your name and good luck. It was just, I don't know. Like I say, so far so good for me. I'm fine. Hasn't affected me that I know of. Who knows? Who knows? Something's going to kill me.
None of us are real, by the way. I won't let you know you're talking to yourself. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Something's going to kill me one of these days.
Well, yeah.
Who knows what it is, but,
Much rather it be time than...
I'd much rather die from old age, as they say, What did he die of? He was 96,
It doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah, you know, something like that. But this stuff causes a lot of problems, and I think more research is required. And I think with a lot of issues, you know, I think the VA priorities are in the wrong place a lot of times. And I'm not a student of the VA. I have nothing to do with it except I use my education benefits when I got out. I don't go to their hospitals. I'm not in their medical programs. None of that stuff on purpose because I just didn't ever want to deal with that.
I've been in a VA hospital. I had to drop one of the nurses or something ordered some Chick-fil-A or something. I dropped it off. That was a sad place to be in.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You walk in there, you're like, holy
you know, there's a lot of people there that need care.
Yeah, they were there too that day, missing stuff.
There's also a lot of people there that don't.
Yeah.
You know, that game the system and figure out how to get some disability money and stuff like that.
I know John uses the VA pretty much for just about any medical thing really nowadays. Yeah, he doesn't like doctors at all anyways. So he says if I have to deal with one, I'll just deal with what I can, you know, I don't have to pay a lot of money for.
Yeah.
Or, you know, so he just goes, he makes an appointment. And he hates it. He hates making an appointment with him because they change the rules every time he tries to make an appointment. But, you know, he's got his knee surgeries done on that. He's had multiple.
Oh, sure. You know, they're not bad people. I'm not.
No. Oh, no.
You know, it's just such a big.
It's all bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy. It is a bureaucracy that, like most government bureaucracies, you would have to tear it all down and start over.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not going to do that.
No, it's
So I purposely stayed away from the VA. I've never considered myself disabled in any way, although I kind of wish. I got a few aches and pains and things now that I kind of wish I'd have told them about. But
stuff that caught up.
Caught up with me, I guess. But
and I know Matthew used the VA when he was doing some of his disability stuff.
Oh, sure. Well, he had to.
Yeah, you had to. But even at that, like when it came to his stomach things. Oh, it's Riley. Let's kick something else. Sorry. I know when it came to like his stomach stuff and things like that, he originally, I think, had to go to the VA to make sure it wasn't due to that. Yeah, and then he had to go to, we at the time went to Tucson, went to a Tucson doctor to do the rest. But it was just kind of interesting. Like, you have to go all the way over there just to sit them to go, it's not military related? He goes, yeah, pretty much. You know, I think that's how it went. It's been 5 years now, 6 years now. So
anyway, that's kind of what I had. I was kind of surprised by all of this. Like I said, I was just reading something, and I can't remember what I was reading. And it's like AFFF is harmful. Maybe I'm late to the game. Maybe everybody already knows this.
Well, you know? and I know
I don't know.
What's often bothered me, and it makes me wonder about like 3M and a couple of the other, because it's. You know, these chemical companies, do they know? And they just
they have to know. They have to.
Do they know this is a thing? And then let's just sell it. Then once they buy up so many billions of dollars, don't release, hey, by the way, this shit's harmful. It can kill you.
Well, maybe they didn't know. I don't know. I was exposed to so many freaking chemicals.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Hydraulic fluids, fuels, oils, petroleum products. God, MEK, methylethylketone, toluene, xylene. I mean, you know, COVID came around. I thought, shit, COVID's going to land in my body and just laugh. It's like, hey, I can't do any damage here.
It's already been done. Yeah. That's kind of like automotive business, but it's a lot of petroleum. And, man, we have, like, our hazmat stuff was, you know, like 3-inch thick book I had to maintain. And every chemical that came into that shop was parts department as parts manager.
We eventually had to do that in the military, in the Navy. But when I was first in the Navy, that shit was everywhere. Nobody cared.
Yeah, nobody cared. Yeah.
Nobody cared about it, you know. But,
now, we had we had 2 hydrants. Every dealership had to have 2 in every department, mainly in the shop side. We had regular red fire extinguishers, the regular one you find underneath at your kitchen sink.
Yeah.
And then we had one that had a purple tag.
That's probably purple K powder.
Is it? Yeah, it was like used for like electrical and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's another very effective firefighting.
Yeah.
P8.
And that was the one that they were the most upper butt about because it was the smaller of the tanks. It wasn't a very big tank. And it actually would go bad. We would have to replace it every so many.
Yeah, we use that too.
So many
Purple
years.
K powder. Yeah. It's a dry chemical fire suppressant agent used using dry chemical extinguishers. I don't know if it's any how harmful it is. I didn't look at that
probably
one either.
is, but yeah. I know with that one it had a shelf life. Like, so if it sat on our shelf for a year or 2 years, we had to replace it. Every couple of years we had to get a new tank in. We would send it to the company, they would dispose of it, and then they would bring us a new one. Oh, it was like a same-day exchange, so we were never without it. Because let OSHA come in on the day you don't have that tank.
Oh yeah.
God.
Oh yeah.
But
see, we never had to worry about that in the military. We did eventually. They finally kind of cleaned up. At least the Navy did clean up their act and said, okay, we got to, take better care of these chemicals and people getting exposed to them and stuff. But that was a daily thing, for me, for you name it. And,
well, I remember back in the day, we used to, especially when I first started in the automotive industry, asbestos was already gone. Right, it was pretty much gone. But you had these guys with these old Chevy trucks and stuff like that would come in and buy parts, and they would be, these brake pads or brake shoes, because they were all shoes back then, were just nothing but asbestos. They'd bring them in, throw them on disc. You're like, I'm not touching that thing.
Yeah, well, shipboard, ships were full of asbestos.
Oh, yeah.
And probably when I was a young sailor, it was there. But,
Yeah, it's just amazing how many chemicals that...
well, when I I was reading this article thinking, all the stuff that I was exposed to.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Because you guys had asbestos, you had the AFFF, you had all the random petroleum products. That none of that's good for the body.
All the chemicals.
I
remember I'd come home from work sometimes. Your mother would make me take my clothes off out in the garage because it smelled of jet fuel and stuff. She said, take that off. I'm going to wash that. Okay,
that's fun.
I remember a story of a sailor in San Diego got soaked with something. I don't remember if it was jet fuel or whatever. His foul weather coat got soaked with it and threw it in the washer and washed it, threw it in the dryer. Well, there was still enough residue in there. He had a gas dryer and it blew up the breaking dryer, burned his house. It's like, So
wow, that would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Make you not ever want to have gas again. That's for sure. Damn. No, it's an interesting thing, and I'm glad there's people, like what Jon Stewart's doing, trying to get, hey, look, this happened. We need to acknowledge this. These guys are in Iraq, they're in Afghanistan, they are right now. Well, not so much Afghanistan, but still in Iraq, in the Middle East, and we're doing all these burn pits. We're exposing these men and women to harsh and horrible chemicals, and they're dying at a weirdly higher rate than most normal human beings. This isn't good.
Yeah, but you remember his show, though, about that, where they finally got in front of some congressman, some committee or whatever, and they're sitting around these congressmen and said, yeah, you're right. We probably do need some legislation, and we need to address this problem. Can you write the legislation?
Oh, yeah. That was Jon Stewart and Tom Segura doing the two
podcast. They wanted Jon Stewart to write the freaking legislation. I'm like, what the hell is this? And he's like, I can write a 5-minute bit on it, but because he's a
comedian,
political satirist, really. I mean,
but he's not.
It's like, no, I can't write legislation.
No,
don't you have people to do that?
Yeah,
I mean, what do we pay you for?
And the thing he pointed out with that is that's how a lot of legislation's written. Is these lobbyists come up and just like he was kind of sort of a lobbyist at that time. Says what he has to say, and then you're right. Go ahead and write that for us. So you have the lobbyists writing the legislation. That's a whole nother subject that we could go really down into. And it's a big problem in U.S. politics. But it's true. I mean, but it's good that he's at least out there saying something and trying to make something happen. And he's also was fighting with the New York, the state of New York over 9/11. With all of the stuff that those guys were exposed to.
Yeah, all the chemicals and stuff.
And how they just whatever. Just kind of try to brush it away. And you had firefighters and police policemen all getting all these crazy cancers and stuff.
And there's something about all that too, though. Is like I was exposed to this stuff in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah,
I know that. I was also a volunteer.
Yeah,
I also got paid for it. It was my job.
Yeah.
So
there is that. There is that. Yeah.
But if there's something going on that you, as a veteran or as an ex-firefighter or as a policeman or a dog catcher, that you need to know about,
and they're not telling
you, there's a problem there.
Yeah, that's where the problem, I think, really comes in. This is a problem.
So I don't blame anybody, and I'm not looking for a handout or pity or anything else. It was part of my job. It is what it is. But
it's good for people to know.
But it's good for people to know that, hey, you got some kind of cancer. It might be related to this.
Yeah.
And
then you can start figuring out how to treat it.
Right.
At least you know what. At least you know what you can look for.
So next time I see my doctor, I'm gonna say, hey, I was exposed to ATDT, and go, what was that?
Probably.
What's ATDT?
Well, your doctor was in the Navy, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah, so he'd probably me too.
Yeah, but he's retiring, so
fist pump,
Yeah,
congrats.
Welcome aboard. Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club. Yeah, no, that's too bad. That is too bad. But it's.
So I thought I'd talk about this. I don't know if it interests anybody. Maybe some of my veteran buddies, if any of them listen to this.
Yeah.
Or if you know somebody.
Yeah.
Let them know. Hey, this stuff.
I've been meaning to let John. I got my two closest friends here in Florida, John and Tyler. But Tyler just retired.
I'm sure they've both been exposed to it too.
And, he just retired from the Navy after 22 years, and then John he left. He got out after 11 or 12, I think. So they've been exposed, and it's an interesting thing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know it either until.
Makes you wonder how many things that we've made in the past. It is mainly old chemicals.
Well, I don't know.
That we just
old chemicals.
Older types of like these fire retardant chemicals that we're like, maybe we should just let the shit burn.
Well, you don't want to let a ship burn.
You know what I mean? Like, man, this is bad, and it's killing people at a pretty. Of course, I don't know if there is a big cancer scare. I mean, it can cause it, but is there a big link to it yet?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I guess that's where the more research comes in. Yeah.
I know, like Richard Pryor said, fire is inspirational.
Oh, yeah.
Fire on board a ship is.
Oh, I bet.
You got to take care of that. You got nowhere to go. You got to fix that.
Yeah.
And I've been involved in a few.
Yeah,
most of them were minor. But
couldn't imagine. That'd be freaking terrifying. I don't know.
Well, you get trained too.
Yeah.
Everything bad that happened to me too seems like it was on a Constellation. Almost got killed there one night by an F-14 Tomcat.
Yeah,
crashing into one of our planes. But
Lord, that's gone now too. Is it a retired ship?
Kind of, yeah.
Is it now? It's probably a coral reef or something now.
I don't know where it is.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
So I know they were doing that with like old destroyers and stuff. They'd sink them off of these reefs and try to get coral to grow back on them.
But most of the ships I was on, I don't know. There's a few still around.
Yeah.
But,
well, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got. If anybody knows anything more about this, just make a comment or something.
Yeah, a comment or and shoot. Most people listen to us know us. Just let us know.
Yeah.
We'll pass it along. And it's a good thing. I think the more we know about all of this stuff is good, because then you can at least have, all right, this guy was exposed to this, this, and this. During like a physical, we need to look for some of these things as well as the normal stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
It helps. Some of these might not be curable, who knows? But at least it's good to look for it, and you can try to get it quickly, and not knowing about it, doctors don't always know what to look for. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know your whole everyday life, They don't have a checklist going, so were you exposed to this? How about this? And new things are being added to this.
Yeah.
I mean,
all the time.
All the time. So it's impossible to keep up with.
Yeah.
But, that's all I got. I didn't have much this week. I've been busy doing stuff.
Fine.
And
we'll be back next week, hopefully with something more interesting.
Yeah. I think this was interesting in my personal opinion. But, that's all we got for this week. like, subscribe, all that jazz.
Yeah.
You know, share us.
Yeah, please do.
You know, and
something, if you hear something interesting, share it. And
we do this for fun.
Yeah.
You know, and gives me practice on editing software and messing with sound and just kind of gives us something to do every week. It's kind of a fun thing for us. So
yeah.
Until then, have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you next week, hopefully.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.